Hello, my dear viewers, and welcome back. Today we have another guest live stream. This was requested by a fan of mine who really wanted to talk about the characters that could destroy Superman after watching. By a fan of mine who really wanted to talk about the 10 characters that could defeat Superman after watching my list of the 10 characters that could destroy Goku. Now, I don't know if we're going to be doing 10 characters, but we'll try to see if we can get there. And I have another guest with me. This one's different, though.
Greetings. You can call me Infinite for what remains of your life.
Yeah. So, like I said, today we're going to be going over characters that could destroy Superman because way back when I made a list of the 10 characters that could destroy Goku, and I mentioned possibly making it into a series where I take on a extremely overrated and overhyped character that people think is overpowered as fuck, but I go over 10 characters that could destroy them, and I intentionally went out of my way to find characters that are not like so absurdly more broken than that character, just to kind of prove a point, especially in regards to Goku. I found characters that could defeat him, but aren't exactly like god tier characters going around wiping out solar systems or universes or something absurd like that. Just to bring down the ego of the Goku fanboys. And I've gotten requests of other characters such as Superman, which we're going to talk about today, Saitama, and Naruto for some reason, even though Naruto sucks and isn't really all that powerful. But I'll save that one for another day.
Number 1, Ichigo.
Lol. I don't know if I would say Ichigo could destroy Naruto, but he would definitely defeat him. I don't know if he'd absolutely decimate him, though.
Yeah, sure. Running the fight over 100 times in a row. Naruto could score a few W's.
Like, the only area where Naruto is completely fucked is the speed category, because Ichigo is massively faster than him. Although, surprisingly, power-wise, they're somewhat even, but I would say Ichigo's probably slightly stronger. And durability-wise and regeneration-wise, it's a total crapshoot. Naruto's fucked. But I'm not going to get too much into that because we're supposed to be talking about Superman.
We got a whole live stream to talk about Naruto and Ichigo.
Right off the bat is one thing we're going to be using as a basis for some of these characters is Superman's weaknesses. Now, we all know about kryptonite, except here's the thing. We're not going to be using kryptonite, so that's out of the picture. I am going to pull up weaknesses that you may not have even known that Superman had. And we're going to go over some of them because I have a little thing right here about it.
All right. So, Before we start this list, we have a few rules. First rule, we cannot use two characters from the same series. So we cannot use Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom in the same list.
Well, I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to try to avoid Marvel characters for the most part because I'm sick and tired of DC versus Marvel. I think it's overdone.
I was just giving an example, though. So,
the only real rule I'm establishing is that we're going to avoid using kryptonite because there are many ways to defeat Superman outside of kryptonite.
Another thing is, I don't want to see you using characters from your Goku list.
Okay. I mean, you can't really stop me from doing that, but I'll try to keep that in mind. But yeah, so here's some weaknesses that Superman has, some that you don't know about. And I picked a website that specifically shows scans so people don't accuse me of trying to bullshit throughout this stream. So the first one we have is mind control. Yes, believe it or not, Superman is very vulnerable against mind control, and before some fellow Bleach fan asks, no, I'm not going to use Aizen, so please don't even ask.
I've seen this one
we already know about. Radiation. This one is something not a lot of people talk about, but Superman is actually extremely vulnerable against radiation.
So Godzilla.
Yeah. Radioactive radiations are poisonous for Superman. It degrades him to a mere human with significantly less combat knowledge than his foes. On Earth, these ionic radiations are easy to come by in the form of X rays, nukes, radon, radon,
Yeah.
which are very potent in weakening the mighty Superman. Then we have this. Then we have his solar flare radiation, which renders him powerless. Which Death Battle talked about this, but I'm probably not going to focus too much on this one. If not, just because it requires him to actually use his solar flare technique, which I don't think is something Superman would realistically use unless it was a last resort. It would be the equivalent of Ichigo using his final Getsuga Tensho. He wouldn't use that unless he absolutely had to. And then we have magic, another thing a lot of people don't know about, but Superman is actually extremely vulnerable against magic. Even something even Death Battle acknowledged.
I got a perfect character for that one, trust me.
Yeah, you can start if you want. I know this is something you really wanted to do, and you had a few characters in mind.
Yes. Let's start off with the great Bone Daddy himself, Eins Ul Gone. Got a picture?
Yeah, give me a second.
AINZ.
Let's see. I guess this one.
Yes, this Skeletor looking motherfucker can absolutely stop Superman. How? Let me explain. This guy is not just your average lich. He is an Elder Lich, level 100 from the in-universe of Overlord game Yggdrasil. His main element is instant death spells. So basically, he has a whole list of spells a mile long, and each one of them is devastating. Like, for instance, one of his spells, Grasp Heart, literally lets him grasp the opponent's heart and then crush it in his bare hands. You think that only works on humans? Fuck no, he did that on a dragon. So, even if Superman was to try to speed blitz him with his immeasurable speed, that Eins could just resurrect himself using one of his many magical items. Another thing.
Oh, yeah. Before we forget, I think we forgot to establish real quick. I almost forgot. We are actually going to be using post-crisis Superman specifically. We're not going to be doing any composite stuff, and we're not going to be cheap bitches by using weaker versions of Superman like New 52 or the DCEU version. So we're not going to do that. We're going to use post-crisis, which as far as my knowledge is one of the stronger versions of him, but not exactly the strongest, because if we used Cosmic Armor Superman, we'd have to bring out the Eldritch Gods or Bugs Bunny, and I don't really feel like dealing with that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
But yeah, so we are going to be using post-crisis specifically.
Yeah, so this guy is basically if Barrigan and Doctor Strange did the fusion dance. You don't fuck.
Now, admittedly, I don't have a lot of extensive knowledge on this character, nor have I power scaled him, but I have debated with you many times about this character, so I have a fair amount of knowledge on at least how his powers work, and it is enough to where Superman would have very little in the way of being able to defeat him, especially when it comes to him using magic, which, as we've already established, Superman is extremely vulnerable against.
Yes, especially since he is able to make himself immune to physical obstruction, and even if Superman tries to use his heat vision, which may I remind you, Hines is weak to fire element attacks. He can actually just use spells and clothing articles to make him less affected by attacks of that nature. You see, here's the thing. What sets Eins apart from the other character is that in Overlord, he was brought over from his from the game Yggdrasil to the New World, and he brought his game mechanics with him. So basically, just like how Big Head is a cartoon character in the real world, Ainz is a game character in the real world.
Basically,
So,
Ainz is Kirito if he wasn't a raging faggot.
pretty much. Except
Yeah,
if
Ainz is
Kirito had
basically
access
what
to death
Reki
spells.
Kawahara wanted Kirito to be, but he failed miserably because the guy's talentless hack. But that's besides the point.
If that's not enough, he could actually use a spell to erase all traces of his existence. The only people who could detect him in that state are those who are great at stealth detection, like those who can detect pretty much anything at all. And here's the kicker. If if any of his death spells fail to affect an opponent, he could just whip out his strongest skill of all. The goal of all life is death, which may remind you sounds pretty cool. So basically, the gist of it is that it's a buff that charges for 12 seconds. But after those 12 seconds, anything that gets hit by the instant death spell will die. Guarantee. No resistance, no immunities, just dead. And it doesn't matter if it lacks a concept of death or not. It will die too. Even the air died and the ground died, and basically it's it's a one shot if it hits. Ainz charged it with the cry of the banshee, and with that was widened, and everything within a 200-meter radius was dead instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Ainz has a bunch of what I like to call fuck you abilities, where you have an
yes,
ability that's so broken, there's basically no way to realistically counter it unless you also have a fuck you ability.
okay, so let's say Superman somehow manages to get past all this and somehow manages to kill him, even though with his game mechanics, a slit to the throat does not often mean an instant kill. Let's say he does manage to get a kill in. Ainz has magic items that could resurrect him from the dead and even reduce casting times for spells. Like for his super tier magic Fallen Down, which is basically like a holy nuke.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you ever remembered explaining if he had access to any kind of mind control hacks, but as we've established, one thing a lot of people aren't aware of is Superman's vulnerability to mind hacks. So
Hmm.
someone with some really powerful mind hacks could be realistically take control of Superman, which I think this has even happened many times in the comics as well. Some like similar to like what happened with Vegeta and Dragon Ball Z. There's been times where people have mind controlled Superman and like used them to try to kill the Justice League or something.
Oh, he does have a spell called Despair Aura, which comes in 5 different levels. First level causes the fear effect. Second has the chance of causing the panic effect. Third has a chance of causing confusion effect. Fourth has a chance of causing insanity. And fifth, instant death.
Yep, exactly.
So to add insult to injury, one of his abilities is known as La Shub-Niggurath, which summons a black cyclone that kills everything in the area. The victims are then sacrificed to summon monsters over level 90 known as Dark Young. These Dark Young are the exact same as the by the
The
Cthulhu
Eldritch
mythos
God.
god. Yeah, the Eldritch
They're called
god
the
of H.P.
Eldritch
Lovecraft,
Gods.
Shub-Niggurath, to gather its sacrifices and proclaim the good name of the Lord of whatever it was. But basically, if that's true, then Ainz is outer versal in scaling because he's 10 levels stronger than these goats.
Well, if he has connections with the Eldritch gods, then even the weakest Eldritch gods are outerversal, which basically an outerversal being would be able to solo the DC and Marvel universes like they're absolutely nothing.
So, but this is a highly dubious area as we don't know enough about these to know that they are the real Dark Young or are just creations that look and resemble them. But it is interesting to note that Gazef Stronov used an ability that can detect weaknesses within an opponent, and it came up with nothing when viewing these massive beasts.
Yep, and this guy is crazy overpowered. And
Yeah,
I'm not really thinking of many ways where Superman can counter back.
yeah, we're talking about Overlord here. This is a series with characters that basically have a fuck ton of fuck you, I win abilities.
Yeah, this universe is somewhat cheap, which is why I usually avoid it in versus debates because I'm not the biggest fan of cheap characters. Like there's overpowered, there's broken, and then there's cheap.
Yeah, but these characters aren't. Yeah, but we have. Yeah, but they are pretty lovable because of their flaws. Like one character is a total pervert and has no limits on her sexual preferences. Another is a trap. Another is a reverse trap. Yeah, there's a lot of strange things going on
Yeah, he
with
also
them.
has a bunch of these immunities like death immunity, disease immunity, sleep immunity, necromancy resistance, paralysis immunity.
Yeah,
His only weakness
it
is
gets pretty.
fire, and I assume like I don't know if it's all fire that works against him or only specifically magical fire, because if so, his heat vision would only get him so far.
Yeah, it's just like with Ganondorf versus Dracula. It's only the sword of sages could be used to pull out a few victory against Dracula, but it's not going to work 100% of the time.
Yeah, and this guy basically operates on the logic of a broken MMO character, like that guy who hacks the game and just is unapologetic about it. That's basically him.
Yeah, but he's not a Mary Sue. The reason why he got it like that was because in the real world, Mamanga, who is the player behind Ainz in the game Yggdrasil, was actually like a shut-in who had no family and had a miserable job. The only thing he looked forward to was Yggdrasil, and that's where he funneled most of his funds into it. So of course he bought every single item and hoarded it. It was basically his passion. The whole plot of Overlord begins when the game is due to shut down after like 10 years of service. So basically, you're dealing with a level 100 mage going back to the level 1 through 5 area and picking on everyone.
Yep, pretty much. And as far
The
to my
only
knowledge,
reason
no one has ever been able to defeat this guy, even other higher level players that decided to go on murderous rampages like the Laughing Coffin Guild in SAO, just not as gay.
So
And he would just show
basically,
up and kill them just because they decided to be a threat to his guild.
however, he is not invulnerable. His build was basically of that of roleplay, not conquest. So he's basically roleplaying death himself. The main yeah, there was at the end of season 1, he gets into a fight with his vampiric slave Shaltir Bloodfallen, And the main reason why she is so dangerous is that she basically counters his main method of attack, summoning. Yeah, like he can summon all kinds of different undead monsters to attack the opponent for him while he buffs himself to get ready for fight. Shaltier's lance, the pipette lance, can drain people of their health and bring it to Shaltier. So that's why the fight took so long.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, as she's a vampire, she's immune to death spells. And the only way she died was after being played like a goddamn fiddle. The only, yeah, he. This was basically a PvP match, the entire battle. So, and the only thing that kept him alive in that fight was that he knew Shaltir like the back of his hand, even more so than his own creation, Pandora's actor. And that guy's pretty cool too. He's I suggest all of you watching to go take a look at that anime. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to, in case when I finally get to start Blood Royale, I'm sure someone will probably ask me to do these characters, if not just because
Yeah,
they're
like
so broken.
yeah, like Shaltir Bloodfallen versus Vermilia Scarlet, or like Cocytus versus Golisopod or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, if another thing I just remembered, Floor Guardians are are immune to weak non-magic projectiles. So I doubt even if Superman's heat vision would affect him at that point, because projectiles that are not magic based are bullshit to him.
Yep. So yeah, Superman ain't gonna be able to defeat Ainz because this guy is basically what happens when you have an MMO character that plays on God mode. Even I've had many debates with him on characters I think could defeat Ainz, and Ainz always has some kind of bullshit ability. Hell, I even threw my own OC character at him one time because my OC character has a couple of fuck you abilities, or has a power that can render most fuck you abilities useless. And even then, even my own OC, who is overpowered, was having a difficult time, which kind of enraged me a little bit.
Yeah. To bring it all full circle, Bone Daddy bones Superman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I'm going to pick my character,
Yep, your
and
turn.
this one is not so, and mine is going to be the Big Head Killer. Now, this one should probably be pretty self-explanatory. But Big Head is a Toon Force user, so yeah, he has access to the Toon Force, so right off the bat, you can't kill him. Good luck. Your only best chance would be to erase him from existence, and even then, that's not entirely guaranteed to work on Big Head. Because Big Head has had crossovers where he's spent time with the likes of oh shit, what the hell was his name? That guy that Death Battle had fight Ghost Rider.
Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo. Him and Lobo decided to go around and start nuking some galaxies. Because why the fuck not?
No, I think it was just planets, but still.
Yeah, someone told me they went around nuking solar systems, which is already as strong as post-crisis Superman because he can also destroy solar systems and carry entire solar systems on his back.
I heard people say he was universe level, so
It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if he was.
okay. So Yeah, Superman will try to hit him. His neck will descend very far back, turn into a boxing glove, and then smack back into Superman's face. Pretty much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that's how cartoons roll. You just can't fight with them
Yeah,
except
basically,
unless it's on their terms.
it would be the equivalent of trying to pick a fight with Bugs Bunny. So how Big Head works is when he puts on the mask, his entire he operates on cartoon logic, but nothing around him does. So for example, he can blow himself up and nothing will happen. He'll just be covered in black soot, but if a bunch of police officers were around him, they'd be blown into a bloody pulp. And he
Yeah,
has
just reference this
reality
guy.
warping powers and can basically do anything he wants. Like he could pull a gun or an axe out of thin air if he wanted to. In one of the
Yeah,
first issues, he gets into a fight with a bunch of police officers and just pulls a bunch of lamps out of his coat and just starts beating the shit out of a bunch of police officers. And the laws of
they call
physics
that the magic
and
satchel.
any kind of logic do not apply to him.
Yeah, knowing him, he'd probably just pull out a big old chunk of kryptonite out of his trousers. Without even knowing what it does.
Yeah, so
That's
basically this guy would be like Mr. Mixaplix, except far worse because there's no known way to defeat Big Head. I read the
So
comics,
Big Head is
and as part of my
Mixaplex on
knowledge,
Bloodlust.
nobody ever found a way to defeat him, and Big Head has no weaknesses.
The only way they got to beat him was to have him beat himself. Like I remember this one time where they had to be reminded that he died, and he just crumbled into dust.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of those like that the stupid Gmod Team Fortress 2 cheese videos. Yeah, like there's one of them called Heavy is Dead. Oh, that one's funny.
Oh yes, very much so.
It reminded me of Big Head because of how zany and impossible everything was.
Yeah, and he has a whole bunch of abilities. He's been able to duplicate himself. He can shapeshift, which is something he could do to easily troll him, like shapeshifting into, I don't know, Lois Lane or something.
Oh, Superman, you are my sweet ugly boo. Now kiss me, sugar. Blade made of kryptonite.
Yep, he also has fourth wall awareness, like Deadpool and Pinkie Pie. So I think you know what that means for suits.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, except Big Head doesn't break the fourth wall in an annoying way like Deadpool does.
Yeah, except when he does it, he doesn't just try to shoehorn as many pop culture references as he can. He just makes a funny joke like, well, I guess that was quite a sticky situation. After like throwing some sticky bombs at him.
Yeah, and what's funny is, interestingly enough, one of his feats is making Lobo literally eat his own words. I'll even pull up a scan for you all so you can see that I'm not like trolling or anything like that. Like he actually did that. Like this is actually one of his feats, which of course Death Battle doesn't mention because why would they want to do that?
Yeah, Deadpool versus Big Head was already stopped. In fact, you could put Jim Carrey's mask in and it wouldn't even change anything.
Yep. So yeah, Big Head can troll Lobo, and Lobo's pretty overpowered. Like he's not really someone you want to screw around with. And Lobo is also a parody character in the same vein as someone like Saitama. However, do not confuse that with a gag character.
Yeah,
However,
like
as part of my knowledge, I think Big Head can absolutely be classified as a gag character. Now, I could be wrong, but I think he absolutely could be, but I guess it depends. Like, gag characters are very weird.
Yeah, so this isn't Green Face's first rodeo in the DCU.
Oh yeah, he's regularly trolled DC characters, which is where Superman is from. And I think Death Battle even mentioned that Lobo has casually beaten the shit out of Superman, and Big Head can just fuck with Lobo like he's nothing. So yeah, Superman's not going to really have much. He's literally going to have no way to kill Big Head. There's no known way to kill him. People have speculated that existence erasure could possibly do it, but again, he operates on cartoon logic. We've seen cartoon characters erase themselves from existence and then come back like nothing has even happened. Hell, even in Family Guy, you have Stewie and Brian who ended up going to basically non-existence and then caused the Big Bang to happen, and then Stewie ended up becoming God because of this. So yeah, I don't even know if even existence erasure, assuming Superman had the ability to do that, I don't even know if even that'd be guaranteed to do it, because again, Toon Force users don't operate on any kind of logic outside of cartoon logic. Like, the only way I could think of it to defeat him is if maybe you had plot manipulation or something like that, which only characters like Bugs Bunny have access to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so number 2 would be Big Head, an absurdly powerful character that can defeat almost anyone, which is why Death Battle specifically chose Big Head to kill Deadpool, because he's one of those characters that, due to him being a Toon Force user, can kill basically anyone with the exception of maybe other Toon Force users.
Yes. So all in all, Boy Scout in blue is green with envy over Big Head.
Yep, Superman would get absolutely destroyed by Big Head. So if you ever want to just easily kill a character with very little effort, just throw Big Head at any character that gets overhyped like Goku or Superman, because they're not going to have any way to counter it, even if the character is like, oh, this character is fifth dimensional, can destroy multiple universes. Okay, but you can't destroy Big Head. He operates on no known logic outside of cartoon logic. What the fuck are you going to do? If you vaporize him, he's just going to come back. If you kill him, he'll come back like nothing happened. Even low tier cartoon characters like Peter Griffin can shoot himself in the head and come back like nothing even happened.
Yeah, you actually use that as one of your transitions.
Yep, so right? That's number 2. So do you have a third one in mind?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And for this one, we're keeping on the theme with masks. Here, we have a thief that has stolen hearts across the world, both literally and figuratively. We have Ren Amamiya, a.k.a. Akira Kurusu, a.k.a. Joker.
Give me a minute. I'll have an image up in a second. Just keep going.
Yes, the Persona franchise, better known as the spin-off to the Shin Megami Tensei series, is actually one of the strongest universes that you could ever possibly see. Seriously.
Oh yeah. I've talked over this with my best friend. Yeah, the Persona universe is busted beyond any comprehension. And if you remember, I mentioned a Persona character in my list of characters that could destroy Goku, that being Nyx, who could absolutely wreck Goku's shit. And this guy is somehow stronger than Nyx. Don't ask me how, he just is.
Yeah, Nyx, you said in your Goku video that Nyx didn't have their true form revealed. But that's not true. The Shin Megami Tensei.
Well, it's not that. We've never seen his true power. We've only ever seen the power of his avatar. Because Nyx, like Darkseid and many of the Eldritch gods, their true essence is so powerful, they have to use weaker avatars to be able to interact with people. In this case, Nyx has an avatar that he sends to fight the Persona characters because his true essence is literally embedded in the earth itself.
Yes, and Joker is no joke. So let me tell you just how powerful Joker is. From off the bat, we see that Joker can casually tangle with Yu Narukami, the same guy who, I think it was him who defeated Nyx. I think it was him. I haven't played the series that much.
It's worth
Hold on,
noting that
computer.
Nyx is also the literal embodiment of death within the context of the Persona universe.
So here's the part where Joker absolutely decks Superman. This is big. He can wield personas such as Metatron, a robotic angel that is said to be the avatar of Yava, aka God, an outer-versal entity who is capable of creating non-Euclidean spaces. So yeah, outer-versal. Since he can use like personas like that, the strongest avatar of God himself, and the voice of reason, he can pretty much decimate Superman. And if that's not enough, he actually has several personas that can nullify physical, elemental, and spiritual attacks, special attacks. So a lot of Superman's moves can go out the window because Joker is a wild card persona user. He can use a lot of personas, like all types, and has several different on hand, like Pokemon. So he can have some that's immune to ice, immune to fire, immune to physical attacks.
Yep. Now, from the research I've done on Joker, I don't know about the whole outerversal thing, but I know he is at the very least multiversal because he has taken on multiversal beings, and he does have a multiversal attack. This bullet that is this bullet attack that can destroy you on a multiversal level.
Actually, Sinful Shell is actually far stronger than that. Sinful Shell is actually a bullet made out of the entirety of the 7 deadly sins merged into one. So yeah, so the reason why I have Joker outerversal is that Metatron, the voice of God and the strongest avatar of him, is they're the same being because the Megami Tensei multiverse holds both the SMT universes and the Persona universes, where they are all parallel to each other. In addition, the compendiums in SMT are the same as those in Persona, making the personas in the Persona universe comparable to SMT counterparts. So, outerversal.
And as far as my shoot, I had a point, and then I think I might have just lost it. Damn it. Oh yeah, as far to my knowledge, while it is confirmed that Strange Visitor Superman is multiversal, I don't think it was ever confirmed that Post-Crisis Superman was multiversal. Like I believe he was solar system to universe level. Now I could be wrong, it's been a while since I took a look at Post-Crisis Superman, but yeah, so as far to my knowledge, Post-Crisis Superman ain't going toe-to-toe with any multiversal level threats. Unless maybe they're just fourth dimensional, which is low tier multiversal, which isn't really all that impressive. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. 4D is not impressive. All 4D means is you're above the concept of time. That's all it means.
Yeah. So basically, all of Joker's personas could easily decimate Superman, including the ultimate expression of the fool Arcana, the one, the only, the true form of the devil himself, Sataniel. He is the guy who uses Sinful Shell, the bullet of the 7 deadly sins. So basically, Superman will never see it coming.
Probably not. And also, from what I understand about Persona, magic absolutely exists in the Persona universe, so that's already a big strike against him. And I'm sure once Joker realized all he'd have to do is throw Superman into a nuclear power plant, he probably wouldn't even bother to use any of his higher level attacks. He'll probably be like, oh, all I gotta do is throw this guy in a nuclear power plant. And he's fucked.
Okay. So we've got Ainz, Big Head, and Joker. Your turn.
Yep. All right. So my fourth character is going to be, let's see, I think I have it written down here somewhere. I might need a minute to look over some of the characters I had chosen. My number 4 will be Ultimisia. I considered using this one for my Goku video, but I decided against it because I already used a different character, and I felt Ultimisia would be a bit overkill. But yeah, Ultimisia from Final Fantasy universe.
Thought it was pronounced Ultimisia, but go on.
Yeah, so the first obvious one is Ultimisia is a sorceress, and not just a sorceress, but the most powerful sorceress in all of Final Fantasy. She was going to destroy the entire known universe by compressing time. Why? Just because she felt like it.
Oh man, those type of villains are fun. Why? Why are you evil? Why are you doing this? I'm doing it just because.
Yeah, so not only that, but she's also able to mind control people, which she did with many characters like Renoa, so that's a double whammy, mind control and access to magic.
True.
And Ultimisia is extremely powerful. She is also multiversal as well. And it's also worth noting that the Kingdom Hearts universe is actually a part of the Final Fantasy multiverse. So Kingdom Hearts, yeah, that's canon within the universe of Final Fantasy, so please keep that in mind. And I just don't see many ways that Soups would be able to defeat Ultimisia. Even in the context of Final Fantasy VIII, they found a way to basically say, like, okay, we can't defeat Ultimisia, so let's just let Ultimisia win and hope things work out in the end. So even the other hyper-powerful Final Fantasy characters couldn't realistically find a way to defeat her or thwart her plan. Because every time they tried, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's just wow.
And even if Superman tried to fuck around with time, which he can do, Ultimisia can also casually mess around with time. So she would probably just assume that Superman's trying to fuck with her. I thought about doing X Death, but I thought X Death, nah, I'll save him for another time because X Death is also fucking broken beyond repaired. I thought Ultimisia would work well enough because two easy ways it could be explained. She has magic, and she also has access to mind manipulation, so Superman has very little way of fighting against her.
Yeah. There's a reason why she puts the ultimate in Ultimisia.
Yep, so mine is going. So I believe we're at number 4 now. So my number for number 4 is going to be Ultimisia. Although it's worth noting this isn't like ranked in the same way that my list was ranked with Goku. You could put these in whatever order you feel is most appropriate.
Yeah, we're just going in blind. But I'm surprised. We went 4 entries in and we finally got a waifu.
Yep, so I don't know, what's your next choice?
Yes. We have reached the halfway point.
Yep.
As for this, I've decided we get to the boundary of the question. For this one, we shall mind the gap and embrace number 5, Yukari Yakumo.
Who? I'm not sure I'm familiar with that character.
Yukari Yakumo from Toho.
From what?
Toho Project. It's a.
I've never heard of that. I don't know. You're always pulling out these obscure characters that I've never heard of. Like, I'm trying to like search it up on Google and I can't find anything. The only thing that popped up was a character from Yakuza.
Here, I private messaged you of what her name is.
Never mind, I found it.
The woman.
It took. I think I figured out what I did wrong. I think I accidentally mistyped.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. My bad. I clicked the wrong thing. Here we go. Let me pull up the picture. By the way, you can talk while I'm pulling up the picture. Yeah. I want as little dead air as possible.
Kevin seems to know what's going on. Hello, Kevin.
I somewhat remember you talking about this character a little bit, although I always end up forgetting about her later. I think I've heard a little bit about this broken character, although, like I said, I don't really know too much about her.
Yes. This character is absolutely bonkers. I doubt even Thought Robot can handle this thing. Okay, so let me break down why Yukari Yakumo is such a broken character. Okay, so imagine anything, like anything at all. Just picture something in your mind. Now, you know how that thing has boundaries, things that keep it from becoming one with everything else in its surroundings, that make it what it is. Well, Yukari Yakumo could just add and remove any boundary that she wishes, including conceptual ones. So basically, Yukari Yakumo has the ability to make everything and everything cease to exist when she wants it to because of her manipulation of the boundary. So, say Superman tries to fly in and punch her. Well, just remove Superman and remove the boundary between Superman and his fist will just fall right off. say Superman, yeah, just basically just can't beat something this busted. You know how powerful her abilities are? She was once able to go to the moon by breaking that boundary between illusion and reality and just walking,
Well, it's worth noting she
stepping
also
into a
has
puddle
mind
and getting
hacks and magic as well, so that's already a double whammy against him.
yeah. Yeah, her power is godly and open-ended. Canonically, she once removed the boundary between truth and illusion and walked on the moon through its reflection on the lake. Now imagine what would happen if she removes the boundary between fiction and reality. Now nothing is real and everything is real.
Well, she can also simply destroy the boundaries between reality and fantasy.
Exactly. She Yeah, even worse. She can just manipulate the boundary between life and death to make
it both live and dead at the same time. How that works is beyond me. But it's bullshit. And even after all that, you know what he has to deal with now? He has to deal with what we call bullet hell. Nope, Soup's not getting past that.
No, he is not.
And if that's not enough, he could just remove the boundary between Superman and his powers, make him normal human level, and then open up a gap that spits out a train flying into his direction. Death by train. Ironic. Yeah, she could just casually split people in two and make them and put them back together. The main reason she does this with her last word is because she doesn't want to violate Chen Sokyo's non-aggression principle. Trust me, the Tohu games, as difficult as they are, have some ridiculous backstory. From a shrine maiden who can literally float out of reality, to a fourth dimensional maid, to a vampire lolly that can crush anything.
Ah, shit. You said the bad word lolly. We gotta shut this stream down and turn ourselves into the FBI.
Funny.
But in all seriousness, yeah, this character is pretty busted. I just wish I knew a little bit more about this character so I could speak a little bit more on it, but I can only speak based on the little knowledge I know about this character.
Yeah, trust me. As difficult as the Tohu games are, they are pretty much very rewarding.
Yep.
Let's not.
The best I can compare this to is her powers are somewhat similar to the power of something like, say, the Hogyoku, how it can break down the boundaries between things like Hollow and Soul Reaper and create transcendent beings. Just not as to the same absurd degree as her powers can. However, the Hogyoku has created some really weird abilities, such as Orihime's powers, which can be classified as broken. Because the Hogyoku was able to create Orihime's abilities, and her ability is to reject any and all phenomenon, which is why her healing is so powerful, so much so that she could even bring back someone's arm, even if it's been vaporized from existence. Which is what happened with Grimjow. It rejected the phenomenon of his arm being cut off and burned out of existence.
All right. So, for number 5, we mind the gap as we gaze into the boundary, and we see that Superman's boundless strength has finally found its boundaries.
Now, this one might be a little bit controversial, and I debated on this one a bit, but I think I might be able to explain it. And before any DC tards come after me, just hear me out first before you call me a fucking wanker or something. So mine is going to be...
Oh boy, I wonder what's next.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting it. I'm just looking for a decent image that I can use. I don't want to use
To
any
recap.
images.
To recap, number 5, Einzelgone. Number 4, Big Head. Number 3, Joker. Number 4, Ultimacia. Number 5, Yukari Yakumo. What's next?
Yep. And my number 6 is going to be... Got my picture. Is going to be Lucy from Elfin Lied. Now, before someone like, I don't know, Sir Splash or Chuck the Cybercuck decides to jump down my throat, my reasons for why I think Lucy would be able to defeat Superman are as follows. Now, yes, I acknowledge the reality that realistically Superman could end Lucy in one punch if he could get a hit on her. And yes,
he doesn't even need to move. He can just use super breath
as Superman. However, there are two factors here that I think are very important to understand. Number one, she has access to radiation manipulation and nuclear fusion, which, as we went over, Superman is extremely vulnerable to that shit. It can turn him into a human being. That's how vulnerable he is to radiation. Also, she has access. This is an ability not a lot of people are aware of, but it is something she has. She also has access to weather manipulation. So we know that Superman gets his power primarily from the sun. Well, Lucy could use her weather manipulation to take the sun out of the picture. Now, sure, she wouldn't be able to completely destroy the sun, but she'd be able to make the circumstances in which Superman could draw power from the sun extremely difficult for him, while also spamming him with nuclear radiation punches to get him down into only being a human being and then just carve him up like a roast turkey. And Lucy is also highly intelligent. She was able to take down the equivalent of Brainiac in her own universe. She defeated a being, spoilers, known as Anna, which was a super mutant that was also a supercomputer that was so good at calculations that it gave Anna the ability to see the future just like Yai Watch. She could see the future at all times and is also a supercomputer, and Lucy killed her. Somehow, she found a way to not only outsmart her, but kill her. So Lucy has incredibly high levels of intelligence, at least on par with a supercomputer. So she's killed the equivalent of Brainiac, and I think Superman can attest to how annoying beings like Brainiac can be.
Okay, so here's some good points. Like, what if Superman flies to space or uses his immeasurable speed?
Well, again, I think her vectors would give that advantage, because unless Superman would be able to detect her vectors, which I don't know if he'd be able to. I don't even know if even his X-ray vision would do him any good. Because the whole thing with vectors is they're invisible hands, and the only other people that are able to see the vectors are other Dicloniuses. And that's because they have a special sixth sense that allows them to see it. And that's another thing. Lucy also has a sixth sense that not only allows her to perceive other vectors, but can also perceive danger around her.
So basically, vectors are like stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Only another stand user can see stands.
Yep, and it's also worth noting that Lucy also has access to a myriad of other abilities, such as biology manipulation. She can manipulate the human body on a cellular level. as well as she has access to disease manipulation. She can infect people with what is known as the Diclonius disease, which basically just outright kills you. Unless you're a Diclonius, it'll kill you. So yeah.
Ouch.
Now, I know that someone like Chuck or Sir Splash will say, well, Superman would be able to enter in a single punch. Well, maybe, but it doesn't change the fact that Lucy absolutely has the ability to destroy Superman. And Lucy also has her split personality, which she can use against Superman. Because here's another weakness Superman does have that not a lot of people talk about. And this is also true with Goku as well. Superman's own kind nature can be used against him. Now, we know that she has an alternate personality known as New, that is basically this innocent, harmless girl that she could, and she's eventually found a way to shift back and forth between these personalities. She eventually found a way to control the multiple personality disorder that was induced from her head injury at the beginning of the series. And yeah, she could easily use these against Superman by using New to make him think that she's innocent and no threat to him, or that she even needs help from Superman. And then Lucy can easily use her nuclear punch, which even if she isn't aware of Superman's weakness to radiation, it won't matter, because just the mere use of her nuclear punch will put radiation in his body and fuck him up. And it could also be argued she could probably use her biology manipulation to figure out that Superman is some kind of alien or mutant and find out and deduce his weaknesses. Because again, she is highly intelligent. If she can figure out a way to kill Anna, it's not unreasonable that she wouldn't be able to find a way to defeat Superman.
So what if Superman tries to use like his heat beams or his freeze breath?
Well, I would say if Lucy could react in time, she could maybe dodge it or possibly block it with her vectors if she could figure it out in time.
Yeah. All of your characters are ifs.
Yeah.
So far.
Now, this one can be considered somewhat lower and highly debatable, but I would stand by the argument that Lucy does absolutely have the ability to destroy Superman given the circumstances, and unless Superman was bloodlusted and ended the fight right away, Lucy would find a way to be able to defeat him because she has her high level of intelligence that is borderline on the level of a supercomputer or even higher than that. She has her biology manipulation, which allows her to manipulate the biology of the body, even on a cellular level. Her vectors are invisible, so unless Superman has some kind of sixth sense that would allow him to perceive her vectors, her main weapon is invisible as far as Superman is concerned. And of course, she has access to radiation and nuclear fusion, which I've already established weakens Superman to the point of turning him into a normal human being. So I don't think it's unreasonable that Lucy would be able to defeat him.
Okay.
So yeah, mine is going. So my number 6 will be Lucy. You could argue she should be put at the bottom because you could say this is somewhat debatable because Superman is so powerful. It would technically only take one punch to end her. But again, there's also, you can argue that Lucy can also destroy Superman because she has the means to do so. So it just comes down to, is Superman bloodlusted or not? Because if not, Lucy can very much use her high level of intelligence to manipulate the fight in her favor, which she is known for doing if she's against beings that are more powerful than her. She has been put up against beings that are more powerful than her and found a way to outsmart them.
Just like Jotaro. Oh, damn, we went back to JoJo.
Yep, so
okay.
Lucy
has a chance of victory.
Please try not to use cringy puns. I still have PTSD about that time I played the Death Battle drinking game. I can't take any more boomstick puns.
Okay, so we have seen all kinds of characters up to this point, all of which seem to be about human
Yep.
size. But how about we
Even characters
go
like Lucy, who are technically weaker than Superman but can still defeat them, which is the point, which is also why I brought up Lucy, because a point of that Goku list and this list is to bring up characters that could destroy Superman, but I didn't want to use too many absurdly broken characters like what Infinite is doing, because in the Goku one, if you remember, I used a lot of characters that are technically significantly weaker than Goku, but still have the ability to kill him, just to prove my point that Goku is not as powerful as people think. And the same is true here with Superman. Lucy has the means to take down Superman, and realistically, Lucy should be no threat because she's maybe planet level, borderline planet level, and sub-relativistic.
Yeah, the only
But she
reason
still has
why.
the means to defeat someone as powerful as Superman.
Yeah, but the only reasons why. The biggest reason why Joker was iffy is because he's only gains his power in mementos, which is basically like a subworld where the person's true selves are shown. In the real world, he's basically a normal teenager. So I guess it all depends on where the fight is taking place. Okay, so for the next character, I'm gonna bring in a real iffy choice too. A real small character, but he definitely has the ability to take down Superman. This character is wrought with envy, capable of who is absolutely absorbed by hatred for a certain yellow rodent that has captivated the entirety of the populace for its charm. And it also stole the spotlight from the famous mascot. I am talking, of course, of none other than Mimikyu.
Yeah, this is another one that some may say is debatable if you're retarded and don't understand Pokemon.
Yeah, I've
But to a
seen people
Pokemon
who.
fan, you might already know where we're going with this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of you in the comments here. You know about this little ghosty, this cute little ghost thing. It looks like a little. It looks like a little Pikachu doll, but
Don't worry,
that's
I'm pulling
not
up
the
a
main
picture as
part of
we
his
speak.
body.
Sorry, I wish there was an easier way I could pull up pictures. I'll address this real quick. Yes, that is true, but the reason why Lucy loses is not because Carnage is stronger, but because Lucy's only way of being able to defeat Carnage, her nuclear punch, is useless. The most recent version of Carnage, the canon version of Carnage, 616, which of course Death Battle doesn't explain this, 616 Carnage removed all of his weaknesses. He's not weak to supersonic sounds and vibrations, and he's no longer weak to fire. So Lucy realistically would not be able to kill Carnage. Now, sure, she is borderline planet level. There was this time where she stopped the Earth's rotation, which I did do the calculations, which is a planet level feat. You could argue it's not planet busting, but it's at the very least planet level. And she's at least sub-relativistic in terms of speed, possibly faster while Carnage is light speed, but that wasn't the main issue. The main reason why Carnage wins is Lucy simply doesn't have the means to kill him. That's what it all comes down to. If Carnage still had his weakness to fire or the vibrations and sounds, Lucy would absolutely wreck him.
Yeah,
And even my
that's
friend, who's a huge
kinda-
Spider-Man fan, said that Lucy, like 7 or 8 times out of 10, is going to defeat Carnage if we're talking about all versions of Carnage. Now, if we're talking about the versions of Carnage where he does have his weaknesses, Lucy would absolutely decimate him, even if he's stronger than her, because those weaknesses, we've seen just how much fire and those sounds make symbiotes, even the strongest ones like Carnage, can render them absolutely useless.
Yeah, but I think that's I think they're explaining that this current version of Carnage is two symbiotes merged with Cletus, which will that kind of be outside Hope or something else. I don't know. They call him Dark Carnage. So great. Just what we need. Another dark counterpart.
But yeah, back to the
Okay.
original point. So yeah, the main reason why we put Mimikyu on here is because it was explained in its Pokédex entry. And no, for any of the retards who try to say this is a in-game only ability, shut the fuck up and go do some research on Pokemon. This is explained in its Pokédex entry. This is basic information about this creature. If you look underneath its little Pikachu costume, you simply die. Basically, how this works is Mimikyu is like Cthulhu. If you look at him, you're fucked. With Cthulhu, if you look at him, you go completely mad. With Mimikyu, if you look at Mimikyu like its true form, you simply just die, which is why it covers itself up in that costume. So don't even try to pull this BS that it's an in-game only ability, because that's BS. A casual glimpse at its Pokédex entry would tell you that.
Yes. I think where people are getting this notion from is from its Z move, Let's Snuggle Forever, in which it develops a Pokemon inside of its sheet, roughs them up a little bit, and sends them flying out. And the fact that they are surviving makes them imply that this is not true. However, I can chalk that up to being simple game mechanics to make the game more fair. For example, Kirby can be harmed by spikes in his games, but also can survive planet-level explosions without a scratch. Sounds pretty inconsistent, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also worth noting that Mimikyu is also, of course, a ghost. So
Yeah,
I
so
don't know if Superman has much in the way of being able to kill astral beings. Fight them maybe, but I don't know about killing them.
yeah, considering Pokemon follow a rock, paper, scissors logic, all of Superman's punches and kicks will just simply phase right through the ghost. He could try blasting him with his breath or his vision, but that probably won't work.
Also,
Because
Mimikyu has this special ability where when you first damage Mimikyu in any fight, it does absolutely nothing to him. And I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's like the dummy
yes, that's
ability or
why.
something.
Disguise.
Where when you hit him, it does absolutely nothing the first time you damage him. So, for example, if Superman tried to punch Mimikyu right off the bat, it wouldn't do anything to him.
Yeah, then he tries to blast him with laser vision. We'll just bash the skies. But then Mimikyu already has its cloth up, and Superman will drop. Oh, another thing. Superman has X-ray vision. He will try to appear under the cloth, and then instantly die because of Mimikyu's curse.
Yep. Also, Mimikyu has the Mimic move, which allows him to mimic the moves and powers of other creatures. So yeah, Mimikyu would be able to mimic Superman's powers, which I don't think I need to explain why that would be bad for Supes. He also has an ability known as Pain Split. Now, how this works is it allows him to split any pain that is caused to it onto its opponent. So let's say Superman decided to hit him with an attack that would normally do solar system level damage. He would able to use Pain Split, which would split the damage between them and mean that Superman is taking a large amount of that damage.
Yeah.
And it can also
Mimic.
use the double team ability, which is kind of like the Shadow Clone Jitsu ability, only more annoying. So he could also create a bunch of clones of himself as well. Not only does he have the Mimic ability, but he also has the Copycat ability. So he can keep using these abilities to mimic. So the Mimic ability, from what I remember, it's been a while since I played Pokemon, admittedly, and all my Pokemon games got fucking stolen. But so the Mimic ability lets him transform into different forms, and the Copycat ability allows him to copy the powers of other creatures.
No, that's not what Mimic does.
I could be mixing it up with Substitute. I'm not certain, but like I said, it's been a long time since
No,
I
that's
played
transform.
Pokemon.
Substitute is the where they throw out a doll and it lets them take a couple hits for them. Mimic is the move that it's the signature move of Sudowoodo, and let's see, it's a move that learns one of the opponent's moves using for battle. Basically copies the user's move till the Pokemon is switched out. But considering that he's on his own, Mimikyu will be using it for the entire fight. Yes. I now see what you're going for. Characters that don't overpower Ainz, but do like 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yep. So, and yeah, given that it's a
Superman,
ghost Pokemon, it could probably find some way to trick Superman into looking underneath its costume. Or but even not just that, like even in a straight up fight, Superman would have a hard time fighting Mimikyu because again, A, it's a ghost, and B, it can copy Superman's powers.
Yes. So yeah, so basically Superman doesn't stand a ghost of a chance.
Nope. And my next one, since a lot of people keep asking about it, even though I was going to mention it at some point, but I guess people just can't stop asking about it, is going to be Spawn. But I guess people are just couldn't wait, they just had to keep asking.
Yeah, considering Spawn just got into Mortal Kombat, and
Yep. Well, Spawn is also incredibly broken. The fact that they even thought that Spawn versus Kratos made any sense is beyond me, and I wish Death Battle would just delete their channel just for that alone. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, Kratos is, don't get me wrong, Kratos is a big, bad motherfucker. He is not to be trifled with. However, Spawn is just way above his bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so the next one we're going to talk about is Spawn. Right off the bat, Spawn has access to magic, but it's so much more than that because the big thing with Spawn is there's only one way to kill Spawn outside of existence erasure, which I'll get into why existence erasure could debatably work on him. But the only known way to kill Spawn is you need a divine construct, and you have to decapitate him with said divine construct. Now, those who don't know what a divine construct is, it's basically any kind of weapon or artifact made by gods. So essentially things like Jack's sword, the Master Sword, etc. So you need some kind of weapon from heaven to kill him, and it won't immediately kill him like Kratos quickly found out. You can't just stab him with a divine construct. You have to decapitate him with it. So unless Superman has access to any kind of divine construct, he wouldn't be able to realistically kill Spawn. And as for anyone who might say, well, he could erase him from existence, well, here's the thing. Spawn not only killed God and devil, the God and the devil in his universe, but he also became one with the mother, which in his universe, the mother is the literal embodiment of existence in his universe. Mother is everything. And he became one with the mother of
Man
all
of miracles.
So
Man
it's
of
debatable that
miracles.
you could even erase him from existence because he is the mother now.
And here's another thing I'd like to point out. Remember how Superman turned evil a couple times? Well, Spawn basically has this thing where he feeds on people's sins.
Yep,
to
I was
get
about to get into
stronger.
that. Spawn also has ever-growing power in the sense that he feeds on the sin of others. So any sin you have committed in your life, no matter what kind of sin it might be, rather it be lust, pride, glutton, whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to particularly be evil because not all sin are strictly evil. For example, you have the sin of sloth, which simply just means being lazy, or the sin of lust, and lust can be both good and bad. So any sin you've committed in your life, Spawn can feed on it and become more powerful, just like Superman.
Yeah. He's gonna need his thought robot armor to get a chance in.
Yep. Also, his symbiote suit has a mind of its own and can fight for him.
True.
I mean, not
So
symbiote
it's gonna...
suit, my bad. I'm thinking of something else, but his suit, I know there's a name for it, but the suit that Spawn wears, it has a mind of its own. So Spawn doesn't even have to fight Superman if he doesn't want to. His suit can fight for him if he wants. And since he also became one with the mother of all existence, he is on par with multiversal threats and even greater.
Yeah, I keep telling you. Its name is the Man of Miracles.
Yeah, Spawn is not someone to be trifled with.
Yeah. So spawning in at number 3, we have the Hell Spawn.
Don't you mean number, I believe it's 8 now?
8, yes. 3, 8, whatever. All right, number 9. It's my turn. The final cast. The final die to cast. We have had many different choices of all different shapes and sizes. At this time, we go big or go home. We bring in the Planet Devourer, the mighty of mighties, the ultimate robot, Unicron.
Yep, I'm pulling up a picture. The only thing I could see possibly being a threat to Unicron is Unicronic arts, as Jim Sterling calls them.
What's that?
It's a joke. Jim Sterling calls EA Unicronic arts because EA devours other game studios and then destroys them, shuts them down, and then moves on to the next game studio. Just
Oh,
like
you mean just like what's happening with Star Wars and Disney?
Yep. Yeah, it's a joke from Jim Sterling that I actually really like, and it's meant to show how like EA is basically the real world equivalent of Unicron.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
So
let me see if I can find a good picture of Unicron. Right now I'm finding a bunch of shitty pictures. I think this should do.
So basically, if it's not enough that Unicron is a planet-sized robot, Unicron also has much more going for him than that.
Even though I
This
was once a
big
Transformers
ball.
fan, I will be honest, I don't know too much about Unicron. I know a lot about Galvatron and Megatron, but I never got that deep into the Transformer series to get to Unicron. I know only a little bit about him.
Yes, he's a telepath. He's got reactive evolution, technopathy, and all kinds of things like reality warping and energy projection, corruption, This guy is basically a godly entity. And I'm not kidding when I say that. For you see, the planet-sized ball you see in the sky as your planet is about to get nommed to oblivion is nothing but an avatar of his omnipotent state. Even his weakest avatars can consume planets, whereas the strongest are capable of consuming an entire multiverse, which is composed of at least 17 spatio-temporal dimensions.
To put that into perspective, you would need Strange Visitor Superman to have any kind of chance against Unicron at full power.
And if that's not enough, his true form is capable of consuming the entirety of the multiverse, which is composed of an infinite amount of dimensions and realities. And at one point, he became the One, which puts him at Outerverse level.
Try not to go too nuts with the Outerversal scales, because Outerversal is very high level stuff and you don't want to look like a wanker. Outerversal is higher than even Boundless.
No, his true form is high hyperverse level, with abstract existence, like BFR, regeneration, higher dimensional manipulation.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a list of his powers so I can get an idea of some of his abilities, but I can't find any kind of power scale of Unicron.
So basically, each time his avatar gets destroyed by something, he comes back immune to it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's no power scales on him because no one can power scale him because he's too powerful, or because Transformer fans or people in the Versus community are too lazy to power scale him.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get a general idea of like Unicron's powers and feats.
However, the only thing that can stop him is the matrix of leadership, an essence of his brother Primus, who is basically robot god. Wow, we have 3 Satans. Jokers. We have like 2 Satans here. Like Joker and this robot devil.
Oh, here's something that's interesting. So this is very reminiscent of Dormammu. Basically, he can manifest whatever comes to his mind. So name something,
boom.
and he can manifest it.
Kryptonite, boom.
Yep. However, in this case, we're not going to be using Kryptonite because that won't even be necessary.
Yep.
He also has possessed Megatron on many occasions through Dark Energon.
Yep. So, in the end, Superman is nothing more than a light snack for the planet-devouring chief.
Yep, there's also this little bit right here. His life force is known as the anti-spark, and those who willfully allow Dark Energon to flow through their veins become bound to it. Which, if he can take control of the minds of people like Megatron, I assume that means he has some level of mind control manipulation. And not to beat a dead horse, but I cannot stress this enough, Superman is extremely vulnerable to mental manipulation.
Yep. Not to beat a dead horse here, but Superman's not so super in the face of a literal god. Funny, because people like Death Battle put him on this pedestal as this unbeatable god that can win against
according to
anyone.
Death Battle, Superman's power is infinite. And even half of infinity is still infinity, so therefore Superman is infinite. So let's put this into perspective using Death Battle's asinine logic. Big Head defeated Lobo. Lobo defeated Superman, and Superman's power is infinite. So Big Head is infinite times infinity.
Makes me want to go stick my head in the toilet. That's so cancerous.
So, yep, Unicron, and then my last one. I'm not sure if I have a last one written down here somewhere. I might have to improvise one. Let me see. Let me take a look at my notes here.
Yep. So.
So, oh wait, I think I know who I want to use. This one might be cheating a little bit, but fuck it. I just want to use him just because I want an opportunity to talk about it.
All right. Who do you have prepared for this one?
Give me a minute. I'm pulling up a picture right now.
So what do you guys think of the list so far in the comments and the chat? Tell us what you think. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the table? Please say something.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully I can find a good picture of him.
So how about some honorable mentions? You have any?
If you have any honorable mentions, you can go over them while I pull up the 10th real quick.
Honorable mentions include Lord English from Homestuck. Boy.
I know nothing about Homestuck, but okay.
Homestuck.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen
Lord
it,
English
and I
is
know nothing about it.
Lord English. His former name was Caliborn. He is the final boss of Homestuck, an amalgam of Doc Scratch, Gamzee, Caliborn, and Arya Sprite. How they made this happen, you ask? Let me tell you. Caliborn just killed Yaldabaoth. He got the Juju. He assembled Gamzee, Lil Cal, and Lil Sebastian. He is ready to perform his masterpiece. So basically, this guy was going to destroy all of Paradox space, which transcends and contains all of existence, which has infinite layers. And he even killed Andrew Hussey, who created Paradox space in the first place. So yeah, you can see why I didn't want to put this guy in.
To address Kevin right quick, Infinite didn't want me reusing characters from my Goku video. So since I already used Ghost Rider in my Goku video, I didn't use him here, even though I easily could have if I wanted to. Because yeah, Ghost Rider would absolutely wreck Superman's ship. There are versions of, like, Ghost Rider is so powerful. Doctor Strange himself described the Rider's power as boundless. The weakest versions of Ghost Rider are at least multiversal. Ghost Rider is not someone to fuck with. He's one of the most powerful Marvel characters of all time, but people don't like this because they only focus on the overrated schmucks like Iron Man, Hulk, Captain Fuckface, etc.
Okay, next up for our list, we have Dimentio, the Dimensional Jester from Super Paper Mario. Is there something you'd like to say about him?
The reason for this one is it being, I said in the beginning, I wanted to avoid using DC and Marvel characters because I'm sick and tired of DC versus Marvel.
No, Dimentio from Mario. So basically, this clown was going to use the Dark Prognosticus and Luigi fuse with him and be able to become the king of all worlds, wipe the entire slate clean, and then rebuild it from the ground up. So yeah, I bet you can see why I excluded him. Sorry, buddy, still my favorite villain.
And my last one over here is going to be this one.
Wait, I have
Now,
one
this
more
one you could argue
honorable
is
mention.
also debatable, but I'll try my best to explain my reason.
I have one more honorable mention, though.
Okay.
Lord Drakon from the Power Rangers comic series.
Oh boy.
This guy is a corrupted version of Tommy Oliver, with the added ability of being a fusion of both the White Ranger and the Green Ranger powers. However, instead of having normal power, instead of being his regular normal Power Ranger level power, he had gained the power of the entire morphing grid, a multiversal field that controls every single universe. And once he gained control of the heart of the morphing grid, he was able to nuke universe after universe without even trying. And he even bested like the original ones, who are these higher dimensional entities.
Yeah, both Superman and Captain America are cheesy. That's why I don't like them. I find them very cheesy. Like, Captain America is basically the ultimate Uncle Tom. But anywho.
Yeah, Lord Draken, who has destroyed infinite universes and dimensions casually and remade his own reality. And the heart of the universe could rebuild all of reality. Yada, 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 you get it. Main reason I didn't is because I would get some ridicule. Because Power Rangers are for kids. Have you seen the comics? In the first issue, Power Rangers actually die, so...
Well, it's like when people say that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is for kids. While that is true for the original 80s series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was based on an adult graphic novel that was extremely dark and violent.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been
Comics
plenty
are
of
no
dark
joke.
iterations like the 2000s version of TMNT, which I grew up with.
Yeah, the comics are extremely dark. And it's just been recently announced that they're getting a Time Force run. Right after the current run they're doing, which is a crossover with the Ninja Turtles, where the Ninja Turtles and April O'Neil got the 5 Ranger coins, and Shredder got the Green Ranger coin. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
Anywho, here is my
and
final choice. And my final choice is going to be True Archer Heracles from the Fate series. Now, the obvious one is Fate series is a magic-based universe. The two energies that servants are made up of is spirit energy and mana, otherwise known as magic energy. So all attacks from servants are based around mana. And True Archer Heracles is broken. Now, it's a well-known fact that Berserker Heracles is basically the Doomsday of anime. He's absurdly fucking powerful.
now
And the only reason why he loses in the Fate universe is because he gets defeated by servants that are somehow even more powerful than him, or just have bullshit abilities like the Gate of Babylon.
Don't you dare put Doomsday and Berserker Hercules in a fight.
Well, I'm not saying it should be in a fight. I'm just saying he's basically the Doomsday of anime. The reason why I say that is because of his noble phantasm known as God Hand, which not only gives him a stock of 12 lives, and he has also pushed this ability beyond its limits and gained a 13th life at times, although it's possibly due to his battle continuation ability, which I'll get into in a little bit. But basically how it works is Heracles has 12 lives, and you have to kill him 12 times or else he'll just come back, even if you do kill him. And he also has a very powerful healing factor as well, where
yes, another thing about the killing him 12 times
over time at all times throughout a fight. A best way to explain it is imagine playing Smash. You're playing stamina mode, and you're fighting a character who has an item on their head that is constantly regenerating their health at all times. That is how God Hand works. You have to deal damage faster than he can regenerate. And to add insult to injury, the only thing that can injure Heracles because of his God Hand ability is rank A Noble Phantasms, which encompasses only magic-based and divine constructs. And since Superman is weak against magic, he doesn't have any way to damage Heracles because you need either a magical construct or attack or a divine construct or attack. But what's funny is while Heracles lost the original abilities of his God Hand ability, his powers changed when he became an altar servant and lost his divinity. Now how God Hand works is he has 12 noble phantasms, and it's worth noting we haven't seen the full extent of his power yet. We have only seen 4 of his 12 labors so far. So there's much more to come because the Fate Strange Fake novel is not finished yet. But another reason why I put him so high up outside of the magic aspect is he has a piece of armor that basically gives him the power that he gained from God Hand, where he can only be damaged by magical or divine constructs. Nothing else will be able to damage him. And not only that, but he also gained the ability to steal other people's powers, Kirby style. So if Heracles wanted to, he could steal Superman's powers, including his ever-growing power based on sunlight. And he could just gain that ever-growing power, and then they just get into a huge fucking brawl until he becomes strong enough to basically just beat Superman into a bloody pulp.
Or snap his neck like Yang did to Tifa. Oop, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that one.
Well, Yang versus Tifa is bullshit. And that whole nonsense, as I've already explained, was a no-limits fallacy.
Yeah, but their main argument was...
Because his ever-growing power would be based on Superman's ever-growing power. But once Heracles figures that out, he just like, oh, well, I'll just take your ability to become more powerful based on absorbing sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
And since his primary method of attacking is using magic power, Superman is already at a huge disadvantage.
One question, though. How does he see?
Everyone always does that joke with that piece of armor that he wears, and it's so old.
Yeah, that cloth over his head. How does he see, though?
That's not cloth. That's the piece of armor I mentioned that makes him immune to any attack that's not a divine construct or magical construct. And that's a piece of armor. Also, he technically doesn't need to see because he has an ability known as Mind's Fake Eye that gives him a sixth sense that is so strong, it allowed him to see Saber's invisible sword. That's how strong.
He's a telepath.
Yeah, so he has a very powerful sixth sense. So even if we assume that piece of armor did blind him, as unlikely as it may be, he has a sixth sense anyway. He doesn't need it.
True.
Yeah, and Heracles is absurdly powerful. He also has another ability I mentioned called Battle Continuation, which how Battle Continuation works is only fatal injuries will stop him. So the Battle Continuation will allow Heracles to keep fighting unless a fatal blow is struck. So for example, let's say Superman decided to rip off all of Heracles' limbs or use his heat vision to keep like burning off parts of his body because he doesn't want to kill Heracles for some reason. Unless a fatal blow is struck, his Battle Continuation will allow him to continue fighting. No matter what amount of damage you do to him, he'll keep coming until a fatal blow is struck. So that's another disadvantage Superman is at. He has to strike fatal blows only, or his Battle Continuation will allow him to keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also stated in the Age of Gods that nothing could even injure Heracles in the Age of Gods. I can't remember the exact quote from the novel, but it was basically said that nothing could burn or cut him in the Age of Gods. And that was around the time Heracles completed his 12 impossible labors and became welcomed among the gods and then became a god himself. So yeah, I would say even though we haven't seen the full power of true archer Heracles, I am confident that Heracles could absolutely fuck up Superman. Also, Heracles is a true hero, whereas Superman is just a cheesy fuckwit.
So, yeah, to cover a previous point about Lord Draken real quick, the reason why I didn't really want to include him is because he's a sideline comic character, not a main like series character, so makes sense. So continue.
Yep, so I think we've covered quite a few characters that could destroy Superman with minimal effort. Even some of the more controversial choices, rather you agree they can defeat Superman or not, they have the means to kill Superman and also have the ability to exploit many of Superman's weaknesses. Not one of the characters on this list does not have access to at least one of Superman's weaknesses. So the argument that even some of the characters on this list, like maybe True Archer Heracles or Lucy wouldn't be able to kill Superman because Superman is far more powerful than them. Again, that's highly debatable because they have easy access to at least one or more of Superman's weaknesses that render him basically useless. So again,
here's a good one.
See someone wanking the shit out of Superman, as long as they're not using cosmic armor Superman, which don't fuck with cosmic armor Superman. For the love of God, don't do that for your own sake. But any other version of Superman, I would say you could bring up these characters or just point them to this live stream. And we'll point out characters that could easily destroy Superman. And if you have any other characters you want me to do, I know a lot of people really want me to do Saitama, which I'll get around to doing at some point. Let me know if you have any other obnoxiously overhyped characters that people think are just god tier and super high level, but really are not. And I'll cover them either in a video or a live stream. This was done in a live stream format because my friend over here really, really wanted to talk about it, and he wasn't going to take no for an answer on the live stream, and a video collab wasn't really what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't really have the ability to do that either. Oh yeah, Kevin here says, why not include Sailor Moon?
Well, to be honest, I thought Infinite was going to do that because he actually talks about Sailor Moon a lot. I honestly thought he was going to. Also, I know I found that thumbnail with Sailor Moon and Freakazoid. Sorry if they weren't used. I just wanted to get a nice little thumbnail, and I honestly thought Infinite was going to bring up Sailor Moon, but it's fine. I could just save Sailor Moon for another time.
Yeah, besides, Sailor Moon would be way too obvious. Her lambda power lets her come back to life as long as the concept of life exists in the universe. That's why
Yeah, Sailor Moon is broken. I won't deny that, though. I don't like the Sailor Moon.
Consider that her unofficial number 11.
Cringy. I won't deny that Sailor Moon is an absurdly busted character.
Consider that her unofficial number 11.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, don't worry, guys. Saitama will have his turn one day. The thing is that Saitama is, again, not as powerful as people think, so it wouldn't really take much effort to find some characters that could take down Saitama, because while we don't know the full extent of his full power, we know he's at least star level.
Yeah, so I think this was a fun time.
Yep, it was. And like I said, guys, I'm going to try to get around to doing more live streams. Also, another thing is I'm also working on my own podcast, similar to something like, say, EFAP, which I've also been trying to become a guest on EFAP. and I've been chatting with Rags, one of the people who hosts EFAP with Mueller. I'll let you guys know how that works out. But I'm also going to be making my own podcast. So I'm going to try to get around to doing that at some point. And it's going to be somewhat similar to what you would see on EFAP if you're familiar with that podcast. I'm going to sit down with some friends and guests, and we're just going to talk about a lot of stuff, react to some videos, and whatever other stuff comes to our mind. And I think my co-host for this podcast is going to be the Seno guy you've seen before, because a lot of people seem to find us to be a really entertaining duo. So I think I'll have him be my co-host in the same way that Rags is Mahler's co-host on EFAP. I don't know when I'm gonna get the first episode going. I already have a name for it and everything. I just got to figure out like when I'm gonna get everything set up. I haven't quite figured out a layout for it yet, but once I do, I'll get that started at some point, and it'll basically be like these live streams.
Yeah.
Naruto, again, I'll get around to Naruto at some point, but again, I feel like Naruto is low-hanging fruit because Naruto is really not all that powerful. He's barely on par with Dragon Ball Z fodder. He's barely on par with Ichigo. I've already spoken enough on Naruto versus Ichigo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could think of quite a few characters that could put this little.
I could probably make a top 50
place.
list of characters that could destroy Naruto because he's not really all that powerful. I know that might possibly kick off certain people like Seth, but yeah, Naruto's kind of gay. He's not really like he's less than even Saitama.
Mm-hmm.
Naruto is around moon to planet level and is debatably FTL, but you could probably get him at FTL.
Yeah, he's about the same level as Natsu from Fairy Tail. So
I don't really want to think about Fairy Tail right now because the next upcoming death battle has me genuinely triggered to the point where I never want to talk about death battle ever again. I've been meaning to make a video about this. I haven't gotten around to recording yet, but I've been meaning to make a video where it's not really going to be a prediction video, but it's going to basically be Gray versus Esdeath, the final straw with a question mark, because I'm so genuinely offended by the next death battle. I don't want to come out of my hiatus. It honestly makes me want to retire. Like, you want to piss me off? That's an easy way to do it. Or a Kirito death battle. If they ever do Kirito, I will retire, no questions asked. I refuse to accept a reality where Kirito is treated as a genuine versus community competitor.
And if Kirito wins his fight?
If Kirito wins a fight on Death Battle, I will lose all faith in humanity, and I will actively mass flag Death Battle's channel until it is removed.
Oh shit!
I refuse to accept such a concept.
Yeah. So, in my opinion on Gray versus Esdeath, Gray wins. Hands down. More experience, creativity, and immunity to ice powers. Esdeath's time stop is ice-based, so it's useless. Gray can freeze fire, can scale to Natsu, who broke out of a time stop, and he has been sub-rela to relativistic since the Tower of Heaven arc. Not to mention, there has been planetary scaling thanks to the Phoenix from the movie. Tattoo Tits dies.
Like, all I have to say about Esdeath versus Gray, at least right now, is outside of having ice abilities, there's only one thing these two fuckers have in common, and that's that they're from two god-awful piece of shit anime, and I know we've argued about this multiple times, Infinite, but I don't care. Fairy Tail is fucking garbage, and Akame ga Kill is somehow even more garbage than even Fairy Tail. Akame Ga Kill is an anime that is so fucking terrible, even fans of the shitty manga don't even like it. Put that into perspective. Fuck Akame Ga Kill and fuck Fairy Tail. Also, I'm sick and tired of Death Battle doing the same thing over and over and over again because people complain on my reviews. Why do you make the same criticisms over and over and over again? Well, because Death Battle keeps doing the same shit over and over and over again. Death Battle is insane. Someone needs to hire Voss over at the Death Battle headquarters. Someone get Voss working at the Screw Attack headquarters. For the love of God.
At this point, I would accept anyone else than these goons they have going on over at Death Battle. So basically, these guys are hacks. That's all I have to say. Hacks. Talentless frauds. They're the Chris Chibnall of the versus debating community.
If it was Gray versus Toshiro, that would have been a fucking disaster because Toshiro would have raped Gray beyond any comprehension. Even if you could somehow get Gray at planet level, Toshiro's ice abilities are fucking broken. Toshiro has access to an ability called Flash Freeze, where it freezes you in an instant and then crumbles you into dust.
So basically, you're saying it's kind of like Mecha Godzilla's Sub-Zero.
Oh no, it's worse than the Absolute Zero ability because it works instantaneously. It's flash freeze, like it's just instantaneous. You're frozen, done.
Yeah, the problem with the Absolute Zero working on these big targets like Godzilla and Dragon Sword is that you need to be below Absolute Zero to instantly freeze a target.
Yeah.
But
how the flash freeze ability works is it
giant building size
instantaneously
mecha
freezes something to the absolute zero temperature, and then you crumble into dust immediately. So it's like the Absolute Zero, except it's instantaneous. But I'm just sick and tired of this. Oh, they have the same ability, have them fight. How many times am I going to have to say why that's a bad idea before Death Battle gets it through their thick head? Seriously. I made a whole video explaining why those matchups are terrible while also reviewing 4 of those Death Battles with that same issue.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm
I
so
can
sick of
barely
it.
wait. I can barely handle what they're gonna do next after this shit show. I recently asked on the Death.
They started out this season of Death Battle by going full retard, and they're just doubling down. They have not made the closest thing they've had to a decent Death Battle is Leo versus the Red Ranger. That's it.
Yeah, and that was a stomp and a half, according to my scaling.
Yeah, and that one was decent at best. And it like once I saw Esdeath versus Gray, I just wanted to give up. There's no way Death Battle is going to improve. They're going to keep going down the shitter. And rather this was a fan request or not, I don't care. Death Battle should have been the one time where like Hulk versus Broly, they should have told the fans to fuck off because this is fucking horse shit. It was terrible when they did Ace versus Natsu, and it's even worse here.
Yeah, Urza versus Zoro, absolute joke. Yeah, there are some Death Battles that they really shouldn't have done. such as their one-sided
Yeah,
fights.
speaking of Death Battle, don't forget to check out the community list of the worst death battles of all time if you haven't voted on it. The link is in the description, and it's constantly being updated. Every time Death Battle makes a new episode, I update it to the list, so it's constantly being updated. So check it out, and like I said, I'm going to be live streaming the results when I feel it's gotten enough votes, so please feel free to check that out. Last I checked, Naruto versus Ichigo is still at the top. However, I'm not going to lie here, guys. There's a very real possibility Naruto versus Ichigo might finally be dethroned. Gray versus X-Death, not X-Death. Oh, God, that would have been hilarious. Gray versus Ez-Death is so bad. It has the potential to dethrone Naruto versus Ichigo. And I don't want to live in a world where there's a death battle worse than Naruto versus Ichigo. You all saw how bad Naruto versus Ichigo was. It almost killed me.
Yeah, it gave you throat infection.
Yeah. Like, I need to put a Surgeon General warning on this. If you play the Death Battle drinking game, with Naruto versus Ichigo, you are playing with your life, and you might possibly die. And I don't want to be indirectly responsible for killing anyone because I technically conceived the Death Battle drinking game. If you do play the Death Battle drinking game, for your own sake, don't do Naruto versus Ichigo. You might die.
Mm-hmm. Another one that I don't think should have happened in the first place was Aang versus Edward. Everything about that episode sucked ass. They have nothing in common. The fight was one-sided as hell. The voice they got for Ed sounded nothing like him. The Aang sprite looked, well, it was okay, but there's infinitely
I know where
better
they got that
matchups for
sprite
them.
from because I actually played the specific Avatar game they stole that sprite from. They got it from a Game Boy game.
Yeah, the jokes in that episode fell flat, and above all else, that episode came out with some very shitty timing. I mean, I get this was somehow highly requested episodes, but having it come out when the whole Vic Mignogna incident was still new just seems tasteless.
Maybe I might do so. I have my list of episodes for Never Go Full Retard is growing exponentially. Like, so many people are being added to the list. Like, Never Go Full Retard is a series I'm going to keep delving into because it's effective. Because that YouTuber I recently made the 4th episode on, My Two Cents, each time he tries to explain himself, he only digs himself into a deeper hole rather than just simply taking accountability for the fact that he's a sellout who discriminates against lifestyles and people that he doesn't like, aka traps. He's flat out admitted live on one of his live streams that he bans traps from his Discord. His excuse is, it's a private Discord. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. Yeah, it's because of shit like that why ANCAPs have a bad reputation, because people honestly think that if ANCAPs were given their way, they would ban people they don't like from stores, such as gay people, black people, whatever. And it's a stereotype, and idiots like that are only making it worse. But I do see that the series works because immediately when I made that episode, he went out of his way to try to get me to shut up about it and stop making videos on him. I almost pity the guy. Almost.
Ouch. Okay, so Kevin says, I can't wait for them to absolutely ruin Madara versus Aizen and Dio versus Alucard.
If they do Madara versus Aizen, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably going to have to get. I would probably have to get Senu and Clyde the Weeaboo just to be able to review it without losing my fucking mind.
And as for Dio versus Alucard, if Alucard does fall to that banana man,
Well, I've
Oh,
already
just
explained, you and I have already
beware.
explained multiple times. And in fact, fun fact, me and him have gotten banned from several versus community discords because we stated factually why Alucard would defeat Dio, and they got offended at this. And it's worth noting that Infinite over here is one of the biggest JoJo Bizarre Adventure fanboy tards you will ever come across. He is the first person that would be screaming Dio would win from a mountaintop, and even he said Dio would lose to Alucard. Put that into perspective.
Yeah, I know when JoJo guys are fucked. So basically, is a series about 4D chess manipulating and all that. You gotta outsmart your opponents. And Jotaro basically is like this galaxy brain. And Dio is basically all brute force. He and put against an opponent as crafty, cunning, and overpowered mentally as Alucard, he will die quicker than he would against Jotaro. You're exactly right, Kevin. Gray versus Esteth. No matter who wins, we all lose.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's getting Death Battle is getting so bad to the point and so dangerous to my health. Like, Death Battle is legitimately a hazard to my health. That is no exaggeration. It's getting so bad that it's starting to get to the point where you guys might have to start paying me to review Death Battle by donating to my Patreon or something, because it's getting so
Forget that.
bad. It's
Donate to
becoming
your
such a
medical
danger
bill.
to my health. You guys might have to start donating to my Patreon to get me to continue doing these Death Battle reviews. I know you guys love them, and I know my channel got kickstarted because of Death Battle, but you guys have to understand, it's so bad, and you've seen how much of a danger to my well-being these dipshits are. Like the Smockbusters once said that WWE is going to be the death of them. Well, I can relate to them because Death Battle is going to be the death of me one day. I swear to God, Death Battle will be the end of me one of these days. Shoot, they came close enough to it when I decided to play the Death Battle drinking game. I don't think I'm ever going to try that again.
Doing that with this upcoming one will most likely kill you.
Yeah, now I of course hope that Death versus Gray isn't as bad as Naruto versus Ichigo, but beware, it does have the potential to surpass it, and I don't want to imagine such a thing. You guys saw for yourself just how bad Naruto versus Ichigo is.
Super Boyo says, "Are you going to keep the stream up?"
Well, I don't know. Do you want to keep going in the stream? Because we can keep talking even though the main subject is over with, or we can cut it off if you want. It's up to you.
Okay. So Kevin says, only episode that will be worse than that. Yai Watch versus Kaguya. Oh,
I don't know why people are so obsessed with Yai Watch versus Kaguya. I honestly don't understand. Like, outside of Naruto versus Bleach, why do people want to see that matchup so badly? I genuinely don't get it. Like, one is a mentally retarded alien, the other is not. Like, I don't get it. Like, what is the connection between these two? Also, the Almighty completely decimates any threat that Kaguya could even pose to Yai Watch. Not to mention, Yai Watch is stronger than Kaguya. I've already gone over this. Yai Watch is multi-planet level, and Kaguya is only planet level. Kaguya would fucking die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yai Watch
So,
should not fight Gilgamesh from Fate. That is a terrible idea. Just because they both have clairvoyance doesn't mean it's a good matchup. Because Gilgamesh would actually be able to counter the power of the Almighty with his own clairvoyance. Part of the reason why I don't talk about those people, with the exception of DC Douglas, as much as you want me to, especially in regards to people like Jamie Marchi, is because a lot of people have beaten me to it, Nero. A lot of people were making videos on Monica Rial, Jamie Marchi, and all that. Like, I felt like I've made this perfectly clear before. I don't make videos on something unless I feel I can add to the conversation. And since all these people were making videos on all these voice actors that were going full retard because of the Vic Mignogna situation, with the exception of DC Douglas, most of these people have been talked about by so many other YouTubers. I don't know what else I could add to the conversation. The only thing I feel I could add to the conversation is I'm one of the few people who was actually a genuine Monica Rial fan before all this shit went down, whereas most people didn't even know who Monica Rial was. I was actually a genuine fan of hers at one point.
Yeah. The betrayal. The betrayal.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I will get around to DC Douglas's episode of Never Go Full Retard. I just haven't gotten around to getting the script finished for it yet.
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, also, I have made like 2 videos so far on the Vic Mignogna situation. So you can check those out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, Aang versus Edward might be...
To answer that
Aang versus
question,
Edward
I'm not
might be...
certain because I don't know enough about Xanahort. I would need to look him up. Like, I am a Kingdom Hearts fan, but I never got far enough in a Kingdom Hearts game where you fight that guy. So I don't know very much about him.
Mhm.
I do own many Kingdom Hearts games, though. I do have Kingdom Hearts 2. I have Birthright Sleep and all that.
Ooh, this one's fun. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is Ichigo?
I don't know. Also, even though I'm a trap, I'll be honest, as much of a trap as I am, Ichigo isn't really my type.
Yeah. Mhm. So, we've reached the ending questions. Does anyone want to ask a question about our characters? Any concerns? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, because I think we've talking plenty, and we got to talk about the main thing of 10 characters, which if a lot of people aren't into this live stream, I can just make it into a more condensed video if people don't feel like watching a live stream because it's quote unquote too long, because people always bitch me like, why are your videos so long? I don't know, maybe it's because I have a lot to say about certain topics.
Yeah,
and because
me too.
I actually put effort into my videos.
Yeah, wait a minute. I'm not on YouTube yet. Give it a while.
Yep. So if you have nothing else to talk about, I guess we'll see you guys around next time. I also have another guest stream planned with Seno, but we're waiting on the topic. I actually put up a poll on my Twitter. I don't know if there's still time on it, but if you want, check out my poll on Twitter. I'll leave a link for it about where you can vote on what you want me and Seno to do another stream about. Let me see if there's still time on it.
All right. So.
Yep, here we go. Yep, there's 14 hours left on this for anyone who is interested. I'll also post this in my Discord. Yeah, so feel free to check out that poll.
All right. So I think that should be it.
Yep, so I'll see you guys around next time. I'm going to try to have a video uploaded tonight. It's probably going to be the video about Esdeath and Gray, and if I decide to make the final decision on coming out of my hiatus or not, because I really don't want to come out of it, to be honest, but we'll see. I've been doing a lot of pondering on it.
Yep.
But I'll try to have that video uploaded. It'll be kind of like a predictions video, but not a predictions video, because I really don't give a shit who wins. Because whoever wins is just going to make me want to wrap my lips around a fucking Glock.
Hope not.
But yeah, see you guys around next time.
See ya, everyone.